Trump and Xi are set to meet in Osaka, Japan, but it's not clear that there will be anything other than an agreement for further talks on trade. This is Japan's first time hosting the G20, and no doubt PM Abe would like the world to focus on promoting free trade and innovation, achieving both economic growth and a reduction of disparities, and contributing to the development agenda. But financial markets could be forgiven for being a lot more interested in the bilateral meetings that will take place on the side of G20, especially the meeting between US President Trump and Chinese President Xi. Risk appetite improved last week when President Trump tweeted that the pair would have an extended meeting. But the schedule from the White House allows only about 90 minutes for the meeting before Trump is due to meet Turkey's Erdogan. That raises suspicion that the meeting will largely be a rubber stamp of a pre-agreed policy tweak. It's not clear how much has been agreed in advance though. Press reports that Xi plans to present Trump with a set of terms the US should meet before Beijing is ready to settle a market-rattling trade confrontation. This list includes removing the blacklisting of Huawei, lifting of all new tariffs, and dropping efforts to get China to buy even more US exports than was agreed at the December G20 in Buenos Aires. While the US has not published a list of its demands, ending forced technology transfer, IP theft, and state-owned enterprise funding of foreign acquisitions would arguably top that list. Thus, it's not obvious that an agreement is within reach in 90 minutes. However, with the US willing to suspend the threat of 25% tariffs on 300 billion or so of China goods imports that are not already subject to tariffs, there's a keen sense that both sides should be able to agree to further talks. This is hardly the basis for a major improvement in risk sentiment, but is at least better than delivery of Trump's 5 May declaration that 25% tariffs would be imposed shortly. The prospect of talks about talks has been enough to generate strong gains for global equity markets. The S&P 500 is up over 6% for the month of June and over 16% in the first half of 2019. This is the best first half performance for US equity markets since 1997. To be sure, Fed guidance of possible rate cuts has helped, with Fed Chair Powell suggesting that the FOMC will closely monitoring the implications of incoming information for the economic outlook and will act as appropriate to sustain this expansion. This is still not enough for Trump though, who suggested that we should have Draghi instead of our Fed person on Fox Business this week, again noting that he has the right to demote him and the right to fire him. Financial markets are pricing in a full rate cut plus from the Fed in July and just under 3 cuts by the end of the year. Speculation that we may even see a 50 basis point cut in July has weighed on the US dollar this week, with a commonly watched index of the US dollar, the DXY index, hitting lows back to March. Now, despite Thursday next week being US Independence Day, it's a full week in terms of data and events in the US. We have important updates on US manufacturing, the ISM index on Monday, and the non-manufacturing ISM index on Wednesday, plus US non-farm payrolls data on Friday too. It's a very busy week next week here in Australia too. On Tuesday, the RBA reviews the 1.25% cash rate, having cut from 1.5% in June. Since then, Governor Lowe has said that it's not unrealistic to expect another cut. Such language leaves the market expecting a cut to 1% on Tuesday. Markets are pricing around 70 to 75%. So, if the RBA does deliver, this should continue to cap the Australian dollar just above 70 cents. Over and above the RBA, we also have Parliament resuming, where the focus will be on fiscal policy and the passage of Prime Minister Morrison's tax package. We also have May building approvals and merchandise trade balance on Wednesday and retail sales on Thursday too. These are all factors we'll talk about in next week's Markets Update.